Are there other relations who are involved as well, or is it just you guys and Sophie?
I think everyone's involved in a sense. Everyone's either a shareholder or a director or an employee. I mean, there are family members that aren't involved sort of on our generation level.
Okay.
In that sense, but yeah, I think anyone that's been involved in the past is still involved if they're still alive.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah, that's kind of.
So there's it really is like a family kind of family deal. I mean, do you sit down at Christmas and all just talk about shipping dogs all the time?
Try to avoid.
Yeah,
Yeah.
typically.
I just want to talk about something else at that point.
Hi, I'm Charlie Thorburn. Welcome to The Dog Father. The aim of this podcast is to look at the wider world of dogs and how it's impacted people's lives and businesses. I've been training dogs for 25 years and I love them dearly, and I'm hoping to share some of this with you. Welcome to the episode. I'm at Airpets down just on the edge of Heathrow, which is somewhere I seem to spend a lot of time delivering my dogs. Any of you guys who follow us will have seen me shipping dogs all over the world, and this is where we do it from. And these two are the guys that make it happen.
Hugo, I'm Hugo from Airpets.
And what's your surname, Hugo?
Lewis.
Hugo Lewis.
Yeah.
Jack Snelling. Snelling.
Jack Snelling.
Yeah.
Okay, so I know your sister, your cousin. You guys are first cousins, is that right?
Yeah,
Right, yeah.
we are.
Yeah. So I appreciate you giving me the time. I'd like to think I'm one of your better customers anyway. So
Certainly am.
I really want to. What our podcast is about is trying to show people the wider world of dogs, basically. Giving people insights into things that they wouldn't have any idea about. So people who follow me are obviously aware that you can ship dogs around the world, but they probably have absolutely zero idea of how much hassle it can be, and how in terms of paperwork and logistics and dealing with all the airlines, which is where obviously you guys come in. So you work in this business along with your sister and your cousin who I deal with on a more sort of regular basis. But the business started where it started. It's a family business, presumably, as you're all related. It's a family business started by
our grandparents.
Your grandparents.
Yeah, it's circa the 60s. We don't know exactly when.
Okay.
But the business was officially registered in 66. But we think the family owned the property before then. So we've got 4 acres here opposite T5 at Heathrow.
Yeah. So I mean, like, presumably Heathrow looked a little bit different in those.
Yeah, I assume so. Yeah.
You haven't got any awesome aerial photos in some,
like it was
in a family home somewhere.
RAF London, before Heathrow. Yeah. And if you look at it, it was kind of totally different layout. It looked like a military airfield.
Okay.
Also, and that was probably around the time that we came here as a family to start farming, really. So it was a small.
So it was like a small farm,
small holding, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
okay,
So there's a bit of everything. I think there was sort of typical small holding: pigs, chickens, veg, fruit. Bit of everything, and looking for different opportunities to kind of diversify into.
And so your grandparents live here somewhere?
Yeah, we've got 2 houses. So yeah, they're still here. I think they lived in one of the houses and built a second one.
Okay.
For
and so did any of your parents ever live on site when they were growing up? I mean, just in terms of your parent, like how's the relationship? Who's sisters or brothers or whatever?
My
Like,
mum's the oldest. Well, she's actually the middle sister.
Okay.
But older than Jack's mum.
okay, so the 2 sisters, 2 daughters of
yeah.
so your grandparents started it, and then
3 daughters.
3 daughters. Okay.
And my mum's the middle one, but I think they all lived here at some point.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've lived here for a couple of years, here and then. Sophie does live here.
Yeah, he had it all. Okay, so it's really like, which is quite cool. It's a really kind of a proper like family business. I mean that's so your 3rd generation. I think everyone says that the challenge is the 4th generation.
Yeah, that would be
because then you get
it's just coming down the family tree, isn't it? And then spreading out.
Further, yeah.
Exactly right.
There's a lot of people who kind of want their say or just want a check out of it. But that's that's not about family politics.
Yeah, I've had plenty of that.
But so they were down here like farming, picking chickens and pigs and stuff. But how did it start? How did they get the dogs?
I think it all started with pilots flying out for Heathrow, had nowhere to leave their pets.
Okay.
And
So like a boarding kennel.
Yeah, exactly that. Yeah,
farm kennels.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's how it
Okay,
started.
so that was so it was just so people pilots and then customers just
Yeah, I think it
coming to the airport.
snowballed from there ultimately.
Okay.
So yeah, starting off with pilots not having somewhere to leave their pets, and
Yeah.
rumor has it a pilot knocked on the door, I think, and said, "Can you look after my dog while I go away?" And
Because there was a farm, there was probably a
Yeah.
dog kicking around. They're like, "Oh,
yeah,
you
most
look after
likely
my dog."
Yeah, exactly that. And yeah, snowballed from there. So yeah, officially started in '66.
Okay. And then it went from boarding kennel to then they started helping. Your grandparents started the shipping.
Yeah, I
shipping
think it was
business as well.
primarily boarding, then went into quarantine. So this is like the days before the pet passport, where it's like mandatory
So
6
this
months
was a quarantine
quarantine.
kennel.
Yeah,
So yeah, so I grew up as an army brat, that's what it's called. And I mean, we lived in Germany when I was born. And my parents' dogs would have been in a quarantine kennel somewhere, and then come over to Germany because they had to go in for 6 months.
yeah,
in
6
those
months
days.
mandatory.
So in a quarantine kennel over here somewhere for 6 months, and then taken over to Germany, and then brought back into a quarantine kennel. I remember my mum saying this. She used to sort of, whenever they moved abroad, because she did it a few times, they would put the dogs somewhere for a good 3 months before they left, so that they had time to pack up the house and get organised, and then they got the dogs 3 months after they got there. So it didn't seem like so long, because there was a sort of bit in the middle where it was all a bit chaotic moving.
They might have come in here then.
They might have come in here. Yeah, that would be funny, wouldn't it? I'll ask my mother if she remembers.
So yeah, I think we probably had 150 kennels thereabouts for quarantine.
Yeah, but I mean that was like, I mean in terms of a
Big
business,
operation.
in terms of a business today, like, you know, everyone with, you know, everyone wants kind of you know, all the sort of things you look for in a business, a sort of recurring revenue and stability. You're getting a load of military people generally. I mean, there's others as well, but the military was obviously a big deal in those days. You've got a load of military people that probably got some sort of you know, some sort of assistance from the military. Like if you're moving, you get. I mean, my sister's in the army. My sister's husband's in the army now, and they've moved all over the place. And the army will help kind of ship. You know, like a company will, they'll help ship dogs. So you've got a load of people being paid to move abroad. They need to do this. It's not even like, oh, they haven't got a choice short of leaving their dog with a family member for 3 or 4 years. So they have to do it. So you're kind of they have to do it. Someone else is probably helping them pay for it, and they have, you know, and they have to pay, because if they don't pay your bills, they don't get their dogs back. So it's like the sort of
sure what the daily kennel sort of cost was.
nothing like
then,
nothing like any of us charge now.
No, but
Throttens halfpenny.
it would have added up over 6 months. For sure.
Yeah, exactly, over 6 months. But also, it's just that kind of consistency. And if the dogs are here for a long period of time, you know, I mean, we run training kennels, boarding kennels, and once once the dogs are settled in, I mean, the dogs here that you guys look after before they fly are kind of here just for a few days or a week or whatever normally, aren't
Yeah, typically.
Yeah.
I mean,
but if dogs
some
are
can be here for 6 months, if not more.
Yeah, but if dogs are here for longer, they kind of get into a routine. You get to know them, and they become
It's a
so
home from
easy
home,
to.
yeah.
They become so easy to look after. So it's a bit of a kind of I've never really thought about it, but it's quite an interesting business. It must have been a bit of a blow when suddenly like passports and things came in, and a load of quarantine kennels were just told, "Oh, you're done. That business is over."
Yeah, I think we definitely had to pivot at that point. But
when was that?
We still got quarantine kennels now, and we've still got 10. And mostly used for rabbits because they still have a mandatory quarantine period.
Okay.
But yeah, really, it's been phased out ever since the pet travel scheme originated.
Which was when?
Would have been the 90s. I'm not sure the exact date, but yeah, essentially, it's been less and less requirement to quarantine ever since then. So
yeah, so in terms of because people often ask me, they're like, where do dogs go that they have to be quarantined? I mean, the only 2 places we've had to do it is Australia and New Zealand. Are there any others? Or are there anyone that if a dog comes in here, is there any quarantine requirements?
There's a couple of outliers. I mean, I think if something comes from Jamaica, it might have to quarantine here as it's kind of like an unusual disease risk or something.
Sure. But probably not something that happens very often.
No, it's not something that is really standard at all now. So there's a couple of outliers, and yeah, Australia and New Zealand obviously mandatory still 10 days, or up to 30 days in some instances.
Okay.
So yeah,
I think the dogs that you guys have sent over for us, they've had to do 10 days when they get there.
Yeah.
So they don't have to do anything here, but they have to do 10 days after doing all their endless 6 months worth of tests, blood tests and stuff.
There's a couple of for China we've had to do pre-export isolation. So there's still some, like, again, just niches out there that we have to sort of comply with different rules.
But it's not for long. It's like a few.
No, that's only 10 days as well.
And do they require any tests before they go, or is it just?
Just sort of monitoring. Yeah, just to sort of health check throughout that period.
Okay.
Yeah, make sure nothing changes.
But you guys got a vet on site, so it's all
They're doing that.
They're doing that
by vet. Yeah.
Yeah. So when did you guys, like, your grandparents were running it, and they're running kennels, and they started shipping dogs? Like, what happened? What happened next? Did you guys get involved like quite young when your grandparents were still here, or is that like were your
I think
parents
just
involved?
after. Yeah, I think we officially got involved in 2018.
Oh, so not that long ago.
No.
I mean, that's about the time I probably got involved with you guys, to be honest.
Yeah,
Yeah,
probably
it was
not
about
far
the
off.
time.
But yeah, I think that was almost off the back of grandparents passing away. So our parents stepped back from the business, and
But your parents took over. Your mums respectively sort of were in the business
Yeah.
with your grandparents, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then
certain
and then
times, yeah. sort of-
and then you guys have kind of come in 2018. Because how old are you guys?
I'm 35 now.
37.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, fine.
Yeah.
Okay, so a bit younger than me, but about the same age as my wife.
Only just.
So you guys come into the business and taken over, and have you done? I mean, I know you've done a whole load of building and like massive amount of building since I've
it's been intense.
come here. Like, was that very much like was that you guys doing it? Or was that sort of put in place before you got involved?
That was us. So yeah, we came in.
You came in with a bit of youth and enthusiasm.
Primarily,
You're like, right,
yeah,
let's
so,
kind of go big or go home. Kind of.
Yeah, our parents, want us to step in and see how the business was doing. It was on a bit of a downward trend. So yeah, sort of fresh set of eyes coming in and bring some new ideas.
And what were you both doing before that?
I was in signage mostly. I've dabbled in air cargo, and we've got other air cargo businesses, or did have. That's sold now. But yeah, primarily signage before that.
Okay.
Yeah, I was doing construction, mostly for fit out companies in London. So
Okay.
fitting out offices and retail
Okay,
spaces.
but basically nothing to do with this.
No.
No, not particularly. I mean, this was
You had your own business.
Yeah.
Did you?
Yep, own
Yours.
business.
Were you working for someone else?
I was employed, yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay, so you came in with a bit of like business kind of
yeah.
owning a business experience. So basically, you were pretty much sort of dropped in and.
Yeah, but I think we've always sort of dipped our toe in from time to time, having just
Oh, have you?
we've always understood it to a degree.
Yeah.
and just coming to visit grandparents or family. And I think my first job was about 13, 14 years old. Here on a Saturday, cleaning kennels or assembling travel kennels.
Yeah. Sure.
Generally had some sort of idea as to
You sort of knew
business
it was
doing.
there, and it was sort of something that you were kind of had an interest in
Yeah.
and thought you might come and
exactly.
get involved in. And how do you work, like, how do you split it? Like, how do you work it that you don't have big family arguments? I mean, are your parents still
Oh, we do.
involved?
Yeah, we definitely do.
No, but are your parents still involved? Is like,
Not
do they let
particularly,
you kind of
very
get on
much.
with it? Are there other relations who are involved as well, or is it just you guys and Sophie?
I think everyone's involved in a sense, everyone's either a shareholder or
Okay.
a director or an employee. I mean, there are family members that aren't involved sort of on our generation level,
Okay.
in that sense. But I think anyone that's been involved in the past is still involved if they're still alive.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah, that's kind of
So there's it really is like a family kind of
the
family deal. I mean, do you sit down at Christmas and all just talk about shipping dogs all the time?
try to avoid.
Yeah,
Yeah,
typically.
I want to talk about something else at that point. But,
Yeah.
yeah. No, there's no sort of formal setup really, other than having the directorship, with myself and Jack. So
Okay.
beyond that,
So when you wanted to do this big investment sort of expansion, you were just like, right, this is what we're going to do, and everyone else like, right, let's go for it, kind of thing. I mean,
I'm not going to the fast show. So the place needed investment.
Yeah.
They had to be done at that point.
Yeah, there was no real investment for the best part of 30 years.
okay,
The
Yeah.
business was
because you've still
very
got some of the
reactive.
older kennels,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that are sort of
Well, we've pretty much shut them down.
they've shut down. Yeah, I mean, I was going to say they're sort of they
Taped them off.
take them off and put
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
dog boxes and stuff.
Totally.
Yeah. They get to a point where your just running costs are just going crazy because obviously it's old.
Yeah,
Everything's old, and
and you got to comply
and do a new one.
Yeah, and like we do, you got to comply with standards, haven't you?
Exactly.
And everything
moved on massively. So
everything used to be built with wood and
yeah.
and be pretty like relaxed, and every kennel would have bits chewed out of it, and
Yeah.
and now they're like no wood, no
Yeah, exactly.
nothing absorbent,
Building licenses now is a different ballgame really I'm not even sure if it existed in the past, but now it is heavily licensed.
Yeah, I think it was stricter in
it was just-
2018. Yeah, the most recent boarding regulations, came out in 2018, and that really raised the bar.
Yeah, so I mean, there's definitely been like boarding licenses for, I mean, since I kind of got off it, like early 2000s, mid 2000s, I started doing my thing, and there was licenses then. But I think they've definitely got much stricter, and I think they're about to. We were part of a government consultation thing quite relatively recently about because as dog boarding facilities, and we're about to build a new one, we have to comply with an awful amount of red tape and sizes and rules and what they can do and what they can't do.
It sounds so straightforward to build a dog kennel, but when you actually come to it, the amount of detail
and staffing it, and I mean, it's like having a kid's nursery, except actually I think there are more rules in terms of how you build it and the space.
Yeah, probably are. Yeah.
But the conversation, sort of the consultation thing we were part of was so we have to abide by all these rules. And yet there's a different set of rules for dog daycare, who basically can just let their dogs run around together. And yet your dog, the dogs here who are in boarding can't be in contact with any other dogs in boarding. And then you get dog walkers who walk off around the park with 10 or 12 dogs and chuck them in the back of a van. And it's all, the consultation was totally unregulated, which is kind of like, so during the day, the dog can be running around in a field because it's part of a daycare, but at night, if it's in boarding, it has to be in these tight conditions. And it's just like the whole thing is so disjointed. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, the conversation I've had with them over the last few years is very much like they're not going to lower the boarding regulations, so they're going to,
which is a good thing.
Which is a good thing. So they're going to bring up the regulations, everything else, which kind of not necessarily you guys, but what we're doing kind of plays into our hands a little bit, because we're building this like really good setup which is going to exceed all the rules by a country mile, and then
that's the sort of mindset we had going towards it, to say, if regulations do change, we want to try and get ahead of any changes, and
you don't want to have to be changing in like 10 years time.
Yeah, exactly right. Rather than try and meet like the minimum for either 3 or 5 stars, we've got the 5-star license. We have to go that a little bit further.
And do you do just regular boarding? Or you're just all the kennels dogs here are just chipping dogs?
We try and avoid it. So I think that's probably one of the turning points for the business, I think, after our involvement, is that we actually went back to the drawing board, looked at different parts of the business. Okay. Said, quite a big bit of the business in 2018, 19 was boarding. Yeah. But we just realised that we've got this facility next to an airport.
Location you're in.
We're called Airpets. We want to be moving pets around the world, not just boarding them at an airport. It wasn't the best use of
our resources.
Your
your real estate here in terms of running a boarding kennel, you've got to be doing something. You've got to be making more use of it.
So
I suppose that's kind of fresh set of eyes, bit of youth kind of.
And
it was a bit of short-term pain for long-term gain, because we did lose out on some income over the summer months or holiday times. Yeah. But it allowed us to focus on actually what we do and really specialise in boarding related to transport. Yeah. Especially international air transport. So that was a good move in the end.
So you obviously have your logo, you have a good connection with American Airlines. You fly a lot of dogs for me with American Airlines.
Yeah.
You'll work with any airline to get to any country. There's no sort of, you're not like a kind of a pub who's
exclusive
allowed to sell the brewers beer kind of thing. You'll work with every airline. So you really know who the airlines are that are good to work with and who the ones that aren't.
Yeah, exactly. So whether it's flying from Heathrow, Gatwick, Manchester.
Oh, you'll fly dogs out of other airports as well.
Typically they're like the main 3 we fly out from the UK.
Yeah.
But obviously based at Heathrow. So
and how, like in an average week, how many dogs will you ship?
Good question.
It probably changes quite a bit.
Yeah, it's seasonal.
But,
so okay, give me your
just dogs, or because obviously we're doing lots of different.
Your podcast is the dog father. So although right underneath the camera over here is an iguana or
bearded dragon.
A bearded dragon.
Yeah.
Who's waiting to go somewhere, and has been for a while, is he? Because he's got to pass some tests or something.
Yeah, I'm actually not sure what's going on.
Something to do with, I think it's to do with salmonella, and he's
that's it.
Okay.
But I think
he's got to be retested before he's allowed to travel.
Yeah.
But yeah,
But so like, okay, so the busiest week of the year, the busiest day of the year, are you talking like tens of dogs, hundreds of dogs?
yeah, definitely tens. Probably.
I mean, if I turn up
Between-
the whole load of dogs to go to Indonesia, that's going to put which we did not that long ago, that's going to put the number up quite significantly because we brought 12 to go out.
Yeah, probably like a really busy week. We could probably do between 60 and 80 in a peak week, I think.
Okay. Okay, yes, it's quite a lot.
And on top of that, we've got imports as well. So we'll have potentially some home deliveries to do from the airport.
So you'll get the dogs out of the airline and then bring them here.
Yeah.
Having done all the import permit paperwork.
Yeah, and that's handled by a couple of border control post agencies here. So,
but you're going to collect the dogs and bring them here because we brought one dog in from America earlier this year, and you guys picked it up from the plane and brought it here.
Yeah.
And then we came down and picked her up from here.
Yeah. So there has to be a customs clearance agent involved, which is what we do. So we just make sure that before any arrival of any animals, that the right paperwork is submitted to the border control authority.
Okay.
So there's just
are you doing
interaction there?
More going out than coming in, or is it fairly even match?
I think it's probably is slightly more coming in. Yeah.
There are more coming in.
Yeah,
okay.
but it changes as time goes on. So.
And is there more coming in because you guys are right here, so you get more of the lion's share of that business? Because obviously there's loads of other businesses that ship dogs abroad, but no one else has a base.
It's normally got the world coming into one country rather than one country going out to the world. But yeah, it's busy on both sides really. So yeah.
And I mean, so how many people have you got working here?
30. We had one start today, one last week. So yeah, but
in the 30s.
33, about 33, 35.
Okay.
Yeah, plus the vets.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
probably.
So you got an on-site vet. Is that do you guys own that, or is that a kind of we just work with them?
Yeah, we're.
I mean, you presumably own the building because it's on your on your site.
Yeah, so we partner with them basically on the surgery. You know, that's part of the deal of kind of being in the Airpets ecosystem, if you like.
Okay.
And they've got 8 staff now.
Okay.
Mixed between.
And are they just doing export paperwork, or are they doing general vetting as well?
Yeah, no, they do get involved with imports. Sometimes if a pet comes into the country and it's missing a bit of paperwork, they'll get called out to sort of backfill that and do a vaccination or do a health check.
But what I mean is, it's just that they're not like a open to the public vet.
Yes. So they'll do health certificates for someone who might be driving to France and needs that to it.
So which we've done with you guys. I just didn't know whether they did that because
Yes, they're also
we're good customers, or whether that's something they do.
I mean, they're travel focused, travel vet being the name, but yeah, that they will essentially help any member of the public with any sort of requirement like that. Yeah.
But basically, you're like, in terms of any of your competitors, you're the kind of the one-stop shop, because you're on site at Heathrow, you've got the kennels with the licenses, you've got the vets on site, like tick, 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 tick.
Yeah, again,
Presumably
that was part of the
other
vision.
shipping companies come to you for you to then send the pets out.
Yeah, it can do. Yeah,
Because I've been here in the past where I've seen other companies like who I've had quotes from in years gone by, and I'm like, oh, you come,
they might be doing a meet and greet or getting the vet paperwork done.
Yeah.
Sorting out some last minute things, but I think just the nature of being right next to the cargo area at the airport kind of we end up facilitating some of that.
Gives you a better,
yeah, exactly. And I guess that was part of the vision from we first started, is like we wanted to have that one-stop shop rather than say, okay, well, you can go to your vets here and then come back to us, and you've got to go here to get a travel crate. It's
which is like from our point of view, we used to get the paperwork done by our vet, who aren't that experienced at doing it. And without putting my vet down, we once, not that long ago, having done this a number of times, we were shipping a dog to, it was just going by car or something, and our vet got the paperwork, and we were like, why is it so complicated? Like, we sent a dog to Belgium like a month ago, and they were like, oh no, it must have changed. We're looking for it, and we sent it back to you guys, and one of you or one of the vets came back and like, yeah, this is for shipping a lion. And so our vet had just downloaded the wrong paperwork, and I was literally, me and Fiona in my office, like, right, that's it, we're just not gonna bother.
But again,
so we now just bring our dogs down
do what we do
in advance so that you guys can just do it, because it's just so much easier, because they do it.
Yeah, it's just familiarity.
They do it every day or so. And where do you guys live? Do you live in London? Do you live out in the countryside? I mean, presumably you don't live here anymore.
No, not anymore. Yeah, I used to. I'm out towards Reading.
Okay.
Yeah, on the other way
part of the way.
into London.
Into London. So
So
you just
about half
Yeah,
an hour
not
away.
too far.
commute in.
Yeah.
Ideal.
Yeah, exactly that.
And
Do the wind down after, I think, most days.
yeah, listen to your podcast all the way home.
Yeah, exactly that. So it's quite nice having the drive home some days.
And what are some of the more sort of give me like a so we have a vet who comes onto our podcast, and I asked him for like the like a blooper, like give me a story of something that's happened over the years that you're like, I can't believe someone's doing this, or I can't believe someone wants us to do this, or like shipping something really random to somewhere really random, or like just some disaster where not like a dog. I mean, you hear horror stories about
There's not too many, thankfully, but yeah.
the odd sort of dog getting. I mean, they've banned flying sort of stub-nosed dogs and stuff, haven't they?
Some airlines have some
have,
yeah,
but they're presumably because the odd dogs sort of like not made it in transit or something. And I know that like we have to abide by sort of temperature. If I'm flying dogs abroad, we generally avoid this sort of summer months because they get in a pickle if it's going to be too hot, which is great. But is there anything that you could kind of think of that's kind of funny afterwards?
I'm thinking of that South Africa import where we had to stay up all night waiting for it.
Yeah, that was
That was
in
early
COVID,
days.
I think.
And I thought, what am I doing? It's 4 a.m. We're waiting on the airport.
Yeah.
And
What, as in just the flight got delayed and you were just...
I think it was in COVID, and the airline would only let the flight arrive if we as Airpets were there to do the customs clearance, I think it was, and collect all the pets from the airport facility. Otherwise, the flight wasn't going to come in with these pets on board. So yeah, we were...
Yeah, so we had to commit to it before the flight took off, and then we had to get pretty much as many of the dogs in one run as we could to get them back here. And yeah, it was delayed as well, I think. So we ended up pretty much waiting through the night. Yeah, waiting for these big South African sort of breeds that people from South Africa tend to have massive
baubles and things like that.
Rhodesians and
yeah,
and stuff like that.
And so it's like forklift trucks and stuff moving them, and yeah, that was an interesting one. Fairly early doors that.
And do you ever get any like really horrible dogs coming in? I mean, do you ever have any kind of, you're like, bloody hell, who's going to open the crate?
Yeah,
You guys, I mean, I turn up here. I mean, I stand up here with a fox red Labrador who's fully trained. He just walked in off a lead. I know, breaking the rules, sorry, but he walked in off a lead, and Sophie gave him a cuddle. A couple of other team gave him a cuddle. Someone popped him on a lead, and he just followed them out. That like that. Presumably, a dog like that's a bit of the dream. He goes and
exactly.
He doesn't bark. He doesn't cause anyone any grief. But I mean, are you ever having to like handle dogs? The guys here are having to handle dogs with kind of, the
rigid leads, we call them.
Yeah, kind of the pole and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, we do get various dogs in that can inflict some serious damage on people. So it's all about that risk.
It's quite stressful for the dog. So even if that dog's not necessarily a kind of...
Yeah, exactly that. It's just
if you pull a German Shepherd off an airplane that doesn't want to, or a Malinois or something that doesn't know you and doesn't want to be here, they can be, I mean, they can be getting pretty upset.
Yeah, exactly.
It has to be trying to get them in the crate if they decided that they don't really want to do that, and then they put up a fight.
Oh, what, when you're shipping them out, they're in a kennel, you're trying to get them into a crate.
But that's the advantage of having the kennels, is if ultimately if the stress level is getting too much for either the handler or the dog, and there's going to be an incident, then we can just hold them here and just wait for the next flight the next day.
No one sort of situation. That sort of stress. No, I remember. So we used to just be able to turn up at American Airlines check-in desk if the dogs were small enough in a kind of like medium-sized crate. So smaller Labradors and Spaniels, and I could just take them into Terminal 3 and just check them in as excess baggage.
Yeah.
And I think they stopped doing that in around COVID times. I think. I can't remember, but we would only be in the dogs that went to America. It was only like the bigger dogs that would have to, like bigger male Labradors and bigger females that would have to come through cargo. And otherwise, I would just. And also, I wasn't shipping so many dogs. I mean, last time I went to America, I think you guys sent 9 or 10 dogs out with me.
But do you have to be on the flight with it?
Yeah, I had to be on the flight. But I was only taking 1 or 2 dogs at a time. So it worked. Yeah. Well, anyway, I remember I've got a couple of photos on at home of me just in the airport, and I just walk into the airport with these crates empty because they're easy to carry, and the dogs are just at my heel off a lead, and I sat them down, and then I check in, and the dogs are just sitting there, and then I get their crates and I walk them to the back, pop them in their crate.
Yeah.
And I remember this family turning up to get on the same flight as me. So we were standing at the desk and it was a Weimaraner.
Yeah.
And the thing, like, it was a Weimaraner, so it was pretty highly strung anyway, but it's sort of dancing around at the end of the lead, and the family are trying to figure out how to build the box. And I'm sitting there going, this dog's never been in a crate before. And they were like, oh, and I was like,
Oh, try and do it.
yeah, and I was like, oh God, you should. And they were like, and I saw me just popping the dogs into the box, and the dogs just sitting on a kind of luggage cart thing, 3 of them in a row. They were like, oh, could you give us a hand? So I helped them build the box, and then of course the dog wasn't. It was like not going anywhere near it, going ballistic. And they were like, oh, so have you got any tips on how to get the dog in? I was like, yes, start 3 weeks ago at home.
Yeah.
Have your dog go into the crate. Have your dog kind of get used to eating in the crate, being in the crate, and that's when mine all just popped in and out, because they're like, oh yeah, well that's been our home for a week. We literally, like, before we started kind of using you guys all as regularly, when we were doing it, we were having the boxes at home. We would have them sleep in their crates. Now we just have some of your crates at home, and they get used to an air crate, and then they come here and they go into another
That's probably one of
crate.
the biggest tips, I think, for travel.
Yeah.
Have cats or dogs.
Get them used to it.
Yeah.
So like the cats, just shutting them in their crate, because I mean, how many? What's your sort of? Are dogs the majority, or are you?
Yeah, dogs are 70% of what we do.
Yeah.
Cats are probably almost 30. Then we have like the odd goldfish, snake, bearded dragon.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've helped.
But dogs, so it's a bit like it's a bit like a vet practice, a general vet practice. If you look at your random vet practice in Reading, 70% of their business is dogs. And then you've got kind of then cats, and then tapering down to, as you say, someone turns up with a budgie and everyone's like, oh God, what do we do? Bring its neck.
Yeah, so it's mostly dogs.
And what so tips in terms of shipping a dog: get it used to being in a crate. What other, like, do you think it's better for the, like, I mean, presumably most owners, if they're shipping a dog, they're dropping their dog here with you guys, they're getting on a flight at a similar sort of time.
Yeah, some can be.
And then they're meeting the dog at the other end.
Yeah.
But sometimes people are going out in advance, and then you're sending their dogs to them.
Yeah.
Is that right? And sometimes,
Yeah.
I mean, what other tips would you have for, like, making it as easy as possible, both for the owners and because I mean, a lot of people would be like, oh God, my dog would get stressed.
Yeah.
Or is it not? People will question me on our Instagram and stuff, and they're like, oh, how do the dogs find it? Do you sedate them? Like, do you sedate them? No. So I always say the same thing, but I wanted you to say it.
Yeah.
Do you what are the obviously I know what the kind of the format is in terms of feed and drinking, but can one of you just kind of run over, like, I turn up here as a complete random with my dog, and I'm flying to Brazil tomorrow, and I hand you my dog, like, what happens to the dog between me handing you the dog and then it arriving in Brazil, hopefully on a similar flight to me or a day later than me? What happens? So they arrive here and then take it from there.
Yeah, I mean, we always encourage people to get the pet here the day before. A lot of people sort of set out thinking, oh, I'll come down to the airport, fly that same day, and get all the pet stuff done at the same time. It doesn't really work like that in practice. All the check-in times are different with the dogs versus passenger.
Much more in advance.
Earlier, yeah, and we need buffer time, to get over to the airport. Sometimes there's queues at cargo to sort of get in there, and so it all just takes a different amount of time to passenger. And so we really require pets to come in a good amount of time before, the day before, so everything can be processed kind of in a timely fashion, and there's no stress then for anyone really, including the owner and the dog. So
okay, and then so they arrive, you do whatever paperwork's needed done, and then they go.
That gives us time to do the paperwork. Has to be sort of within 48 hours of the flight, so we can get that done.
And then they go into a kennel for the night.
Yeah, kennel. Yes, they sort of join the boarding, licensing type arrangement, so they get walked twice a day, and they're given we ask the owners for dietary requirements and
so presumably most people bring a bit of food with them.
Yeah. But
we're pretty relaxed because our Labradors eat anything. But most people presumably turn up with a bit of food.
Yeah, usually do.
And I mean, also because you guys always ask us to measure the dogs. I mean, and I've done it a lot. It's not the easiest thing to do. So presumably some dogs turn up, you thought they were going to go in one crate, and actually they need a different crate. So you've got that gives you time to make sure
Yeah.
they've got the right size crate.
Yeah, crate compliance is just like a massive part of what we have to do as an IATA cargo agent.
So what it tell me what IATA is?
Well, IATA is sort of the governing regulations of everything that's cargo,
Okay.
and air freight, and part of that is live animals.
Okay.
And as
So you guys have a sort of a license with a sort of
an accreditation.
accreditation.
Yeah, accreditation as a cargo agent specifically for live animals.
Okay.
So that's what gives us the access to book cargo live animals.
And some presumably people have to go on like a course or something, or like
Yeah,
you have to pay a licensing whatever.
Yeah, they've got
all that
fees
stuff,
yeah.
and have all the right insurance and.
That's it, yeah. So live animal regulations, and need to have a few members of staff knowing that, passing the test on that. Paying your dues to IATA, and potentially getting audited.
So they at any point they could just come and inspect you and just check that you're doing the right thing.
Yeah, we've signed up to their sort of SEAV accreditation, which is a sort of their top level of live animal inspection and auditing. So we're sort of building our framework around that, if you like, for all our compliance.
Okay.
But yeah, that's kind of the best practice, I suppose. But getting a cargo accreditation is really kind of a key part of it.
Okay. And you don't need to have a kind of kennel and a vet and everything to get that accreditation. You just have to be.
No.
You just have to kind of go through the process, and
I think you have to probably put a lot of deposit down with IATA these days. I mean, we've had it for so long.
And so going on to your customers, you just mentioned it. Punters sending one dog versus professional entities. Putting myself in that class, there's not much professional about me, but professional versus professional entities sending dogs on a regular basis. Like, what's a majority of people just punters moving from one country to the other, and then with a few kind of people like me, kind of, or is there more people like me that I don't know, that are like not specifically doing what I do, but are there more sort of people who send larger amounts of dogs or more regularly sending dogs?
Like 60% of our business is your walking customer.
Okay.
Customer.
Who's sort of relatively a one-hit wonder. You might shit their dog, kill them, and then they might shit their dog back in 8 years later or something because they used you before. But if they sort of scratch their head, they can't remember who they used, type of thing.
Yeah.
But so quite a lot of it is like generating new business on a regular basis versus, but 40% is kind of regular customers.
Yeah, so that can be other agents within the UK,
Okay.
Agents abroad who we work with, and they would instruct us here.
Okay.
What's out with their move?
So that goes back to like the fact that there's other people who I've seen other companies coming here. That's so you working with other people. Versus people like me who send quite a lot of dogs. I mean, how many? You probably count us on two hands, can you?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. There's not many that send out like bulk shipments of dogs as such. It's
I think I've got to have the name behind you to do that. I mean, you're selling a trained dog, which is kind of like a product in itself, isn't it? And it'd be hard for someone to do that, I think, without the.
Yeah, it's probably fun, and I think we can probably count them on.
Okay.
They can be really special. Anything from.
It's good for us, though.
Yeah, like your sort of Springer and Lab, like detection dogs.
Yeah.
Your protection dogs. We've moved a few interesting. Working dogs trained to hunt oil leaks and things like that.
Someone approached me the other day about training a detection dog for gas pipelines. So gas pipelines that are buried, and they have to, or not, even if in this country they'd be buried, but in America quite a lot of them just run along the top of the ground for miles, and they have to kind of to search. But the underground one specifically, the underground one specifically. We were like, we can basically just send someone. I mean, we haven't done one yet. I'm hoping to do one because we're quite an interesting project.
Well.
Sorry?
It's the same for water. I think you
right.
train a dog to look for chlorine in the water.
Okay. So water leaks for.
So if you've got a water leak and there's a.
Yeah. Because it'll get you to within an area of it. Whereas trying to do it, surveying it with a sort of machine is quite interesting. That like today. Like modern technology is still in a lot of cases still beaten by old school methods of training a dog to send.
Even has this like airport security, like going too in depth, but dogs are still used for airport security.
Heavily, yeah, and event security. I just met a chap on the way in who's taken one of our Springers as a detection dog, and he's heading off to an Arsenal football game. He's got 2 dogs with him. One's explosive dogs, one's a drug dog, and he's doing this. He's got to be there by 2:00 to do the whole the whole stadium, and then as the people are coming in, they're going to be there, just random searches and stuff.
Yeah, it's just sparked a memory now you say that. So I used to work with sniffer dogs in a different family business,
Okay.
and we would go and search air cargo for explosives. So it was called RASCO back in the day. It's like remote air sampling for canine olfaction.
Okay.
And then it changed to REST. But yeah, it was called RASCO back on the day when I was doing it. And so yeah, we'd go out and we would take these remote air samples from outside air freight, so it wouldn't fit through an X-ray, or it was too dense to go through an X-ray. You couldn't hand search it because it was too intricate.
Okay.
So I went and sampled this one piece of freight, took this air sample from it, brought it back to the dog. The dog indicated. So you have to go back and do a second.
So sorry, you're going to take an air sample. So you're literally
like a remote air sample.
So you would walk into this room, scoop up a bit of air, put a cork in the. I mean, a bit more technical than that.
Yeah,
but you're basically scooping up a bit there, and you're taking it back to the dog and letting the air out. And if the dog indicates, which normally we train them to sit, we just train them to sit and point.
Exactly that.
And the dog indicated on
the dog
your.
indicates on this one, so as I go back and get a second sample. But because the warehouse was aware of it, it was a full-blown evacuation, bomb threat evacuation. So,
And you're in there like going,
I'm walking to the warehouse, okay, I'm going to take the sample. Yeah, I took the second sample and the dog indicated again. So yeah, it was a full alarm. But it turned
At which point you then back out and let the police take over.
400-meter cordon while they work out what's going on. But, they worked out there was probably a particular type of metal in this shipment, which is used in
explosive.
Yeah, in certain component. But yeah, nothing explosive. It was just so happened to pick up on this minute trace of this metal.
Why are you taking an air sample? Why is the dog not in there?
I don't think free running dogs were licensed back then.
Okay.
And the freight typically has to soak with under plastic.
Okay.
To get a condensed sample, I guess.
Okay. So they put a big plastic sheet over it, and then you get. And this was just a random sample kind of thing. They were they weren't suspicious of it. They were like, oh, let's just check this one because we can't go.
Yeah, this was
Because most of what I've seen is you would just take the dog in there and let the dog work around the warehouse, and the dog will then find the big weird-looking thing and sit down and say there's something in here. At which point, so I've never heard of the sort of air sampling and taking that back to the dog. That's quite interesting.
Yeah, so it's RASCO became REST. I can't recall what that stood for.
And these were Springer Spaniel. This was a Springer Spaniel, was it?
Yeah, the labs we had then. I think they experimented with Malleys because they could just work harder, but handful
More intense. Yeah.
Yeah.
And actually, their noses aren't as good. Malleys' noses aren't as good as a gun dog.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
But yeah, because Malleys have not been bred specifically for their nose. You know, a gun dog breeds have specifically been bred for their nose and their for longer than more intense than the nose to the ground. Yeah, and just really looking for smell. That's all they look for. Whereas if you look at some of these Malinois, they're trained to do it, but they're very they're very focused. They'll focus on you. They'll focus on that. They'll focus on this. Whereas gun dogs, spaniels especially, they don't care what's going on around them. The nose hits the deck and they're just like, so they just use their nose more effectively. And it's been part of their breeding. The nose is more important to us as, if we get a dog that doesn't have a good sense of smell, we're not going to carry on breeding that line or whatever. We're going to be like, this dog's got no sense of smell. Whereas Malinois, it's a bit more. The reason they're used is because traditionally the police and the military have always thought they can be a bit more general purpose. They can do the detection thing because they've got a nose and their sense of smell is off the charts better than ours, but they can do all the other stuff. So it's just the ability to have one dog. But a little bit like anything, it's like you guys getting rid of the boarding kennels and just focusing on shipping pets. You just do better. You do a better job at what you do now because you're not trying to do 20 different things.
Yeah. The border force guys are still using spaniels over at the airport for security. So
yeah.
Yeah,
exactly. They're all the. I mean, occasionally you get like a beagle or something.
Yeah,
but most of them, I would say 95% of them are Gundog breeds.
Yeah.
So talking which, you live in the middle of London, so presumably you don't have a dog.
That was a very small one.
Oh, you do have a dog.
Yeah.
Okay.
A Dachshund, but
Okay.
you have to meet her after. I think it's a spaniel in there. You'll be able to work it out.
And do you have a dog?
No, sadly not. I would love a dog, but between work and 3 young children, yeah, it wouldn't be fair to get a dog. It would probably come to work with me and be in a kennel, and
Okay.
yeah.
You see, you just need a well-trained dog and come and sit under your desk. I know a guy.
I'll be breaking all the rules.
I know a guy who can help.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be nice to bring dogs into work, but I'd like to be a bit more pro it, but we can have visitors who, aren't particularly keen on dogs. And so, we try and keep the office reasonably animal free, but I'm sure
That's quite interesting.
It's just the density. I think if we had a bigger office, we'd do it. Yeah. But if you walk through there, we're pretty on top of each other as it is. So.
But then, from like a liability point of view, if you get a visitor come in and this dog doesn't like a particular person, or just suddenly decides, I don't want to be in this environment, and get me out.
It's quite interesting because we're obviously, like, our business, we're very much a kind of bring a dog to work kind of a place. I mean, most of my team have got 3-4 dogs each. But they're all trained because they're all dog trainers. And even the guys and girls who work in the office, they're all trained because if they just wouldn't work for us, they didn't have a good dog. It's funny because I'm like, for your Airpets, you've got to allow dogs, but actually you then open the door. It's tricky because you open the doors to everybody bringing their dog, and some people's dogs are a pain in the ass.
Well, then they might fight. If you bring a dog in, it's on its sort of on its edge already, and then it's walking into 10 dogs that are sort of know the place.
Yeah.
So it's more the office we try and keep dog free, but we probably have, that's part of 10 staff dogs in a day. So we've sort of allocated kennels to staff for them to keep dogs.
Oh, so they can bring their dogs in. But
we by no means anti that you can't bring your dog into work, but it's just.
So basically, you need to flatten the office building and build it twice the size, and then everyone can bring them in the office.
That's actually the best.
So you built new kennels. What is the next kind of? What's next?
Yeah, it's funny you say that. That's pretty much the plan. What you just said. So this sort of corner of the site we're on now is sort of aim up for the next phase development.
The next year or so, or sooner, or other ways.
As soon as we can. True, really. Yeah.
It's just planning permission. You're just trying to get the plan approved.
Subject to plan. We've got a planning call later today. But ultimately, parts of the site are aging, or like you say, like not used, and
so the idea is just to, over a course of whatever 5+ year, 10 years, you're going to just update everything,
subject to Heathrow expansion. So
because you're presumably right on the way of the new runway if and when the new runway goes ahead.
Exactly.
Is it going to literally come over you, or close enough that you'd have to be?
The terminal comes over us.
Oh wow, okay.
Well, if it goes.
But then you would just move slightly further away and build a whole new setup again.
Yeah, you'd like to.
That's what we asked for. Yeah.
Yeah.
See how accommodating that can be, I guess.
Yeah.
It throws up some challenges, but equally opportunity and excitement. So if we can get,
because it's not like it's a business that's needed. It's not like you're kind of like, oh well, but we're talking about your grandparents. You can't just sort of like, oh well, just shut. It's a good business. You've got to employ a load of people, so they presumably need to think of like they need to be, if they are going to do that, and these sort of compulsory purchase things, they need to be accommodating to. They can't just sort of turf you out.
No, exactly. But we've been here
longer than they have.
For longer than we are as old as Heathrow Airport is.
Yeah.
See, I think it was London Heathrow Airport before Heathrow. It was renamed in the same year we were established. So we've been here as long as the airport has.
Yeah. And so you might just have to move a mile that way or something.
Yeah, but
we'd like to be as close to the airport as we are now.
Yeah, to keep your kind of your little niche that you've got, which is you are the people who are here.
Yeah.
You start moving too far away, and then you're subject to other people being able to offer the same thing that you.
Like due to like the approvals we've got. So like you said, we've got the 5-star forwarding license, we've got quarantine license. We're a border control post. So with that means we have to be within a certain proximity of the airport.
Yeah.
So I'd like to think we'll be relocated to a favourable position.
Place with brand new offices, brand new kennels again.
Yeah, exactly that. It's, the business turns 60 next year, and I'd like to think there's another 60 years left.
60 years in it.
So
for your kids, you say you've got 3 children.
Yeah.
How old are they?
Twin boys who are 1.
Oh wow.
A daughter who's 4.
By full on.
Intense, and hence the reason why we haven't got a dog. But Maybe one day. Yeah, I would love a dog. Probably a lab, to be fair. So
Again, I know a man.
Yeah.
I know a man who produces lovely dogs. I'm sure there's a deal to be done.
yeah, I don't think so.
Some bartering. Good. Well, thank you very much for your time. It's been good to just hear a bit more about your business. Obviously, I've done a lot with you guys, but I've also learned a lot just now. So that's quite fun. So I really appreciate your time.